the distant reaches of the land once known as Burma, a primeval paradise survives. On its waters live a legendary people, the Sea Gypsies. In hand-hewn boats, they cling fiercely to their nomadic ways, at one with the waters that give them life. They are called the Moken. They have no nation. They live by their own rules, speak a little-known tongue, and treasure peace and freedom. But now the Sea Gypsies are under siege. The forces of the modern world mine their waters and strip their islands. A brutal regime wants them to give up their freedom. With time running out on a forgotten people, two filmmakers hope to earn the trust of a shy and elusive clan and find their own lives caught up in a world of splendor and tragedy. Can these determined nomads resist the terrible gifts of civilization and preserve their place in an endangered Eden? They are islands out of time. 800 nearly unspoiled bits of rock and forest in a turquoise sea. This is the Mergui Archipelago, a cluster of largely uncharted islands off the coast of Myanmar, once called Burma, in the Andaman Sea. Ruled over by a repressive regime, the archipelago has until recently been spared the plagues of tourism and commercialism that have devastated so many of the world's last Edens. It is here that the Moken make their home, one of the last true sea nomads on Earth, survivors from a different age. Their origins are as hard to pin down as the Moken themselves. They may have come from ancient India, Sri Lanka, or Malaysia. And their ways are disappearing fast. Only a handful of Sea Gypsy flotillas like this one still exist. Most have been lured or forced to take up life on land. They live and die by what the sea gives and takes. And here, the sea is still as bountiful as it is beautiful and dangerous. Their eyesight underwater is remarkable, twice as good as most people's. And they seem as at home among the coral reefs of the Mergui Archipelago as any of the astonishing array of creatures that thrive here. A few hundred of them still roam the seas on their handmade boats, as their ancestors have done for centuries. One Moken clan, the Naui, refuses to be bowed or broken by the Burmese government, or anything else. Keeping the boats seaworthy is no small task, and every 2 weeks the Naui have to burn off algae and waterproof the hulls of their craft. Carefully tending his own boat is Abe, the clan's spiritual leader. This has been his home and that of his daughter since his wife died many years ago.
We choose to live as our grandmothers and grandfathers lived in the past. We go on in the same way as they did.
Abe has seen many of his people give up the ways of the sea gypsy with catastrophic results. His daughter, Appy, has worked faithfully by his side since her mother's death. But she's had a taste of village life, and he worries. He has no idea that worse things lie in wait for Appy. But for now, all is well with the Naui Moken. They don't fish with hooks or nets. Instead, they're sea hunters and gatherers, living by the rhythms of the moon and the tides. Clan leader Unyin sees keeping to the old ways as a sacred trust.
We are the last of the Naui. No one else is left except us.
As with most hunter-gatherers, it is the women who gather and who bring in the great majority of the food.
At low tide, the women walk from one bay to another, collecting mollusks, sea urchins, and oysters.
Mary, the leader of the flotilla's women, describes the day's work.
We gather the food from the seas. After a while, our legs get soaked and they start to hurt. So we stop and take a break. Then we dry off and start gathering all over again.
Moken women work much harder than the men do. As far as the men go, they spear fish, and after that, they have nothing to do.
As the sun heads for the horizon, everyone returns to the comfort of home. And the scent of cooking fires fills the air. On a wooden boat, hot charcoal is handled with a quick flick of the wrist. The sea has been generous today, as it has been to the Moken for centuries. Few outsiders have been privileged even a glimpse into this precarious paradise. But that is about to change. For weeks, filmmakers Klaus Reisinger and Frederic Langenia have been trailing the elusive sea gypsies, hoping to immerse themselves in their way of life before it disappears.
The islands of the Mergui archipelago, they are really under threat by the influx of civilization, of settlers, and of people trying to make their fortune there. For us, it was an opportunity to document this place and to see this paradise just before it gets destroyed, before it disappears.
I find it absolutely incredible that the Moken are still roaming these islands exactly the same way. Most likely there is very little difference between 400 years ago for the Moken and now.
Reluctantly at first, the sea gypsies tolerate the filmmaker's presence. But as the filmmakers manage to make themselves useful, the sea gypsies begin to trust them.
He's solid like a rock. Tell him that if I had this, I would die.
One day, Klaus is invited along to film a crab hunt, a traditionally male outing. At stake here is more than an outing for a meal of succulent crab. The future of the Moken rests with the children and their skills as hunter-gatherers.
Now we hunt crabs on full moon days. We will come again to catch them on the next full moon. Be careful. The crab will bite you.
It's an excellent catch and an excellent day for kids and clan. While the men hunt for crabs, the women offer to teach Frederic what any Moken child can do with ease.
It was just one more sign that they were getting used to us. Ah, voilà. Okay.
Capturing the spiny urchin is one thing, but getting to the meat is another. Mala, one of the oldest members of the clan, steps in to help.
Learning how to pick up the sea urchins was very funny. And I enjoyed Mala immensely. She doesn't want to see this.
Still, the Moken remain reluctant to let Klaus and Frederic into their sanctuaries, their boats.
There was a memorable evening where we went from one boat to another where they were saying, go and ask the other boat, go and ask the other boat.
But finally, after 2 months, the father-daughter pair of Abe and Api decide to take a chance on the filmmakers and invite them to share their seagoing home.
Yeah, they just let us into their lives to see what was happening to them, with them, around them, and tell us some old stories, let us participate in their daily life.
Abe and his whole family welcome the filmmakers aboard to marvel at the everyday ingenuity of their lives. Today, a pair of time-worn goggles needs mending.
We use a mirror for the glass.
A cast-off battery serves as glue for Abe's handiwork. Api would use the newly mended goggles to work the seas and help the family keep going. Her quarry today is a special one, but one she will have to wait for nightfall to hunt. The Moken usually hunt and gather what they need to feed themselves each day, no more. But sometimes they require things from the outside world, Only then do they gather more than they themselves can eat. Tonight, Api will dive for pencil sea urchins. They only venture out of the safety of their crevices and crannies when the sun disappears.
We don't dive in the daytime. We would have to move the rocks. The urchins are difficult to find during the day. That's why we dive only at night.
Despite poor visibility and a brisk wind, Api takes the plunge. The other women hold torches above the water to help Api see in the dark. Expert as she is, Api must take care not to puncture her hands on spiny urchins or slash her feet on the razor-sharp coral. Morning brings light and music. Accompanied by song, the clan readies the pencil urchins for market, and everyone is in good spirits. Their haul can be sold for cold, hard cash. And cash means they can buy diesel fuel, cooking oil, and rice. Things that can't simply be plucked from the sea. Abe and Api steer a course for Palau Tonton, the local version of a market town, a day's journey away. Here in civilization, there's only one man they trust. Merchant Wu Cha Yin. He's been trading with Moken clans for nearly 40 years, and he is married to a Moken woman.
We're having a problem with the engine. We're stuck until we fix it.
Few outsiders understand the Moken soul as he does.
Without their boats, they become very depressed. They say they'd rather die than live without a boat. Take care of your money. You look good when you hold the money.
It's been a good day for Abe, Api, and the family. And they use some of the money on a little shopping spree. But Abe is anxious to head off with good reason. The Naui Moken often leave civilization with much worse things than money. For now, Api and Abe are content to be headed back to the clan's flotilla and their slice of paradise. The search for food never ends. The Moken have no room or use for stockpiling food. They prefer to live on what the sea yields each day. They take only what they need. Today, the men are spearfishing for a rare treat, a stingray. Appreciated for its elegance and grace while alive, the ray will nonetheless feed the entire clan for a day. Some delicacies require a trek onto the islands. The Moken men will go to great lengths to obtain a few mouthfuls of one of their favorite foods.
There's a cave at the tip of the island. The entrance isn't very wide. That's where we'll use the branches to get them.
Their quarry, bats called rosettes, which cluster by the thousands on the rough walls of the cave. The hunting method is basic and strenuous. Still, it does the trick. It's a lot of effort for a handful of bats, but the whole clan looks forward to the meal. They know that bat is not for everyone.
We, the Moken, love to eat bats, but other people don't.
Still, the chef is happy to share her secret recipe for savory bat stew.
Salt, MSG, onion, garlic, turmeric, and curry powder.
Foregoing today's feast, Klaus sets off to visit some of the Moken's least favorite neighbors, spirits of the forest that terrify the clan. They take the form of monkeys, macaque monkeys. To Klaus, the troop of macaques is harmless. But the Moken never engage them, and unlike some Burmese, they would never hunt or eat them. Left to themselves, the macaques make their living by mining the tidal flats, just as the humans do. After a square meal, they're ready to relax and enjoy the day. A little grooming. A little mating. little investigating the strange other primate who has appeared in their midst. They're not above filching from filmmakers. Then, a rival group of macaques appears, and Klaus is forgotten. Despite all the sound and fury, the troop stands its ground, sending the intruders on their way. When Klaus and Frederick return to the Moken, they find that bad news is waiting. Appy is seriously ill. In fact, she's been sick for weeks, without their even knowing.
We had no idea that Appy was sick at all. It came as a total surprise to us.
Appy can barely walk, and her father Abe is sick with worry.
Appy eats, but she has no strength. There are worms in her stomach. She might die.
With Appy's permission, Frederick examines Appy, trying to determine what's wrong. European or Moken, no one knows exactly what's going on.
Appy took some medicine, but she isn't getting any better. That's the reason why we're having a healing ceremony, to cure her.
The women of the clan intend to fight back, to pull the evil from Appy's body, led by me, no stranger to bad spirits.
My sister Mi is a powerful shaman. She can call upon the spirits and talk to them.
Try to capture the malevolent spirit in a blue cloth. A little talcum powder is believed to calm the spirits. Then they smash the bad spirit.
We pulled out the wounds from her body. We took out everything that was wrong, sickness and wounds. That's why we took the bad spirit away from her body and smashed it on the floor of the boat.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Now they'll have to wait and see if the evil spirit is truly vanquished. Days go by, and Appy's condition seems unchanged. It is decided the spirits may be appeased with a special offering, and the men of the clan set off in search of it. Hakim, Abe's cousin, leads the quest. Normally, the clan shuns the forest as a shadow world tainted by disease and home to dangerous snakes. A pangolin decides to head to higher grounds with its baby in tow. But the scaly anteater is safe from the moken, who are after something sweeter. Their quarry, honey, will be a gift for the spirits and for the tongue.
If we put earth on our neck, chin, and under our arms, they won't smell us and bite us. When we smoke the hive, the bees are stunned. That's the time to climb right up to the top of the hive.
Abe will offer some of the honey to the spirits, hoping they will come to his child's aid. But most will be enjoyed by himself and the clan. Another treat awaits the children on the hike out. A flock of flying foxes. Further on, they stumble upon a much more ominous sight. A deserted camp left by rogue loggers.
I don't know where they come from. Sometimes we hear the sound of machines. That's why we never stay on this island.
Timber is big money in Burma. It would have to be, since you risk your life to cut it without permission. The clan is afraid of getting caught in the crossfire between the loggers and the Burmese military.
The patrol boat came in and caught people logging illegally. They killed about 10 of them. We didn't know anything until after it happened.
These are waters ruled by guns, in the hands of the Burmese military and the private militias that they support and arm.
First we look at the tracks, and then the shape of the footprints.
No one lives in the area, so it's very easy to recognize an old or fresh path. And you can easily hear the sound of a chainsaw in the distance. Some loggers who have connections in Thailand carry weapons. They use AK-47s, M16s, and radios, along with chainsaws.
Fortunately, the militias don't forbid the Moken from taking the occasional tree to build a boat in the ancient way. This one is for Abe's cousin. Abe himself is at a loss. The spirits now seem aligned against his daughter, and nothing has helped. But it is a harsh reality of the sea gypsy's life. The work of the living must go on, no matter what. For the good of the clan, the boats must be built.
We help each other. It is the Moken way.
Each new boat or kabang must be cut and carved and cured by hand over several months. The Naui Moken face a terrible crisis. Their numbers are dwindling fast. Right now, this clan still has enough people to build and carry their boats to the sea. But soon there may be too few hands, as Abe knows all too well.
We're a small group. There are only a few children left, hardly enough even to play. Still, we have to make ourselves happy. There's nobody else.
For the boat to be seaworthy, the tree spirit must be convinced to leave it.
Spirit, this tree is now a boat, so you, spirit of the tree, you had better just stay in the stump.
The rough boat will be towed from island to island for the weeks it will take to finish it. In a tribute to their newfound friendship, the Moken decorate the boat-to-be with a now familiar tableau. Frederique at her computer. But the clamor of boat building soon gives way to a worried hush. Api is worse still. She may be near death. A distraught Abe finds his only hope lies in modern medicine. He decides to take her to the tiny clinic on nearby Mahjong-Galay Island. The Free Moken do not like Mahjong-Galay, a village created by the government in order to settle the sea gypsies on land. For them, it is a place of disease, drugs, and desperation. It is a measure of Abe's dismay that he would even consider coming ashore here. And when Api falters, he almost heads back to the boats. But Klaus steps in to help Abe, who is now too frail to walk. The clinic has only one nurse, San San Ma, a Burmese.
I think Api has malaria and malnutrition. These two things for sure.
The nurse worries that Api, like some other Moken she's treated, may not follow her instructions. If so, she may not make it.
They need to be educated. Some people listen, some don't. So you really have to convince them.
The nurse wants Api to stay for 3 days. Abe is torn. He wants help for his daughter, but he does not want to stay here.
Mahjong-Galay is a bad place. The Burmese have built Mahjong-Galay saying this is a sea gypsies village. It has never been. It's not a sea gypsies village. The ideal village of Mahjong-Galay is a totally fake place, run entirely by the Burmese.
The Naui know that the Burmese military may soon demand that they live on Majogale permanently. They already forced them into housing here during the last monsoon.
If the soldiers come again and tell us to go to Majongale, I'll say we don't want to go. We like it in Naui. We don't like it in Majongale. We cannot stay here. The houses are wrecked. There are a lot of sandflies. There's a lot of sickness here.
There is also very little work. To survive, some young men find employment as divers for Burmese merchants who insist that they use outmoded air compressors to plunge very deep for long periods of time. The young Moken are going too deep for too long, according to one local merchant.
The people are dying. I'm broken up. I'm broken up. The heart broken. Very dangerous.
Many Moken are dying from accidents like decompression sickness or the bends.
We heard some wailing and some crying, and there was a funeral procession coming out of one of the houses.
A young Moken whose family had been resettled in Majongale has died in a diving accident. His coffin will be taken by boat to rest in the soft sands of the nearby burial grounds. But of the many ways to die in Majogale, some horrify the Naui Moken more than others.
During the last rainy season in Majongale, many young people from another flotilla, the Jarlan, died because of heroin.
Heroin, according to merchant U Cha Yin, has devastated the Moken.
Heroin became very popular and widely used. People started injecting it. It spread so quickly. Kids 10 to 15 years old were so addicted, they couldn't fish in the traditional Moken way. They can live without rice, but not without heroin.
Far from the dangers of civilization in Majongale, there is overwhelming relief in the flotilla. Among the women digging for shellfish in the tidal flats today is Appy, now almost fully recovered from her battle with malaria.
I don't know what helped me, the spirits or the injections. I don't know what cured me. I know that I'm afraid of dying.
Surrounded by death and tragedy, the Naui Moken are feeling vulnerable. Abe decides it's time to ask the ancestors for help. But the spirits of the ancestors are demanding. The first step is for Abe to capture a single sea turtle to sacrifice in a special ceremony.
I couldn't spear it. The water is too deep, and it swam away.
After 2 weeks on the hunt, Abe comes up empty-handed. But he decides the ceremony must still go on, even if it means facing the wrath of the spirits.
We got 4 turtles last year. We can do without turtle this year. We'll make a pole ceremony without it.
For 3 days and nights, the Naui will perform the spirit pole ceremony, their most important ritual, which is celebrated only once a year during the full moon. In the absence of the hallowed sea turtle, Abe and Mary decide to substitute an ordinary chicken. But the spirits are not happy. Speaking through me, the shaman, they demand to know where their turtles are.
We make an offering once a year. Don't ask for more. We have very few people. We made a lot of dishes for you. Eat it all.
Abe's excuses do not go over well with the spirits, who continue to demand their rightful offerings.
You wanted a turtle, but I couldn't find one.
I want rice soup. I want rice soup. Every year I got rice soup. Where is the rice soup now?
Abe already told you you will not get rice soup anymore.
But finally, the spirits put their displeasure aside for some heady drink and music. Some are overwhelmed by the presence of the spirits. An exhausted me falls into a ferocious trance and is carefully attended to. Unless they can revive the shaman, the spirits may disappear and the pole ceremony will fail. With the help of a raw egg, me comes back to life. Still possessed by the spirits, me scrambles to the top of the pole. The next day, they continue the celebration on a neighboring bay. In the calm light of morning, all seems right with the spirits and the clan.
The spirits like me.
The spirits have accepted the offerings, which can now be shared.
Don't play with the chicken.
Happy is well and happy. Finally, Abe is at peace. For now, their world is in balance. But the clan knows each spirit pole ceremony may be the last they observe as free Moken. Frederick and Klaus must now leave the Moken, not knowing what will become of them. Certain only that their friendships with the Sea Gypsies have touched them deeply.
To leave them behind is heartbreaking. I don't know what's going to happen to them.
I really like them after this time having spent with them. It's hard to say, it's difficult to go away now. Because probably never see them again. Maybe if we come back sometime, maybe some of the kids might remember us. Hope they will make it here.
When you think of a tribe, you always think that they are primitive. The Mokens are everything but primitive. They were not surprised by anything we did. They were not surprised by the computer, not surprised by the television. They are perfectly aware of what's going on, and they've decided to follow their own ways with a lot of pride and a lot of elegance.
It seems that time is not on the Moken's side, but these are special people. Not saving for the future, not coveting what others have, they've managed to slip under the world's radar for ages, resisting modern life, materialism, and tyranny. A forgotten people in a forbidden archipelago. They may surprise us yet.